Now let's proceed to digital taxonomy and how we can design learning experiences that target higher order thinking skills. We're done already with your domain expertise. Now we're done with looking at the levels of technology adoption, and then we're now looking at how do we further target higher order thinking skills. So we will now explore on the proper way of choosing the right digital tools as you design student learning environments. So for most of us, we are familiar with Bloom's taxonomy, so which is a model for classifying different levels of cognition, thinking, and then understanding. So as a teacher, you've likely maybe used this to guide the development of your curriculum, your assessment, as well as your instructional strategies. But with the age of digital technology, we ask ourselves, or in the age of online instruction, and in the current situation that we have, how can this model affect us? Or how might it affect or influence your instructional design? This is something that we want to consider answering when it comes to this particular aspect of our lesson. And ultimately, how it might influence your instructional design in your course. Let's take a step back. So Bloom's taxonomy was created in 1950s by educational psychologist Benjamin Bloom and his colleagues, and it has led to the educational objectives and to the theory of mastery learning. So the three lower levels, the knowledge, the comprehension, the application, are the basic levels of cognition, also called as lower order thinking skills. And this would include concrete thinking, memorization, and understanding. Now, on the three upper levels, you have the analysis, the synthesis, and the evaluation. So this would refer to your higher order thinking skills. This would include the abstract, the critical, the metacognitive, and the creative thinking. Some have likened the model into a mountain or a stairway. So where teachers set learning objectives and design learning activities to guide students to higher levels of thinking. So the taxonomy has become, for most of us, a model for structuring learning processes. But in the 1990s, Bloom's taxonomy was updated by a group led by David Kratwall, one of the original authors, as well as Laureen Anderson, a former student of Bloom. So what they did was to make it more relevant to the 21st century learning. So one of the main changes that they did was to update the noun associated with each level with an action-oriented verbs. So this differentiation positions the thinking as an action-based process rather than one of the passive acquisition. So your knowledge was replaced with remember, analysis was changed to analyze, so on and so forth. So they also reordered the last two steps, which is the evaluation at the top and was moved down, and then creating formerly synthesis was moved up to the top. So with this framing, educators have set different verbs, questions, and instructional strategies associated with each level. So in recent years, there have been iterations and metaphors for us to remember Bloom's taxonomy, so including the peacock, an orange, where you have 6 levels that are distributed more equally. We also have moving cogs, representing an interworking system in which creation is dependent on all of other aspects. And then others would show a flip pyramid, illustrating an emphasis on higher order thinking skills than that of the lower level thinking skills. But in thinking how technology affects this model, so I want you to consider adding another word, and that is Bloom's digital taxonomy. So this is the updated version wherein it expands the scale associated with each level as technology becomes more and more ingrained and become essential part of learning. So you will see some literature that would actually match technology tools suggesting technology tools within different levels of cognition. So, for instance, some would propose that the new action verbs could be applied within each level. Let's take a look at creating, in which learners are designing, inventing, constructing a piece of work that shows what they know. So, one could add digital verbs to create, such as blog, remix, or program. So these verbs are referred to possible learning activities that already incorporate digital technologies in which students are creating. So another that we would want to highlight in Digital Bloom's taxonomy is the adding of digital verbs to the taxonomy, and also promotes 21st century like communication, collaboration, creativity, and critical thinking. So, with these examples, the focus should not necessarily be on the tools themselves, but on how tools could be vehicles. So, in transforming student thinking at different levels. So, consider how Bloom's digital taxonomy can help you identify ways to design technology rich learning experiences by your students. So, as you weave technology into your teaching, so ask yourself, how can this technology tools be used for supporting different cognitive levels? So, for example, here, when you are targeting the remembering cognitive skills, there are tools that are useful, such as flashcards in drill and practice. In analyzing, you have probably tools that would have graphing capabilities or showing different trends of data. And let's say for the creation, there are tools that would allow them to produce content, whether it's an infographic or whether it's going to be a video material that is accessible with a real audience. At this point, we're looking at aligning the different tools in the different levels of cognition so that we are aware that, similar to the sum or model, there are tools that would assist us during the time that we are delivering that particular form of lesson, or wherein we are targeting a specific cognitive skill. So similar here, it could be an inverted pyramid. We target higher level thinking skills than the lower level thinking skills. So there are many ways by which we can show this. So as you can see, this is a hexagon showing how different tools are again suggested, released by Intel Education. Another way of looking at Bloom's taxonomy, simply using iPads, the alignment of applications in iPads into the different levels of cognition.